This just came out today. Study, this is like you're talking to a 6-year-old. Study identifies best place to hide from nuclear blast shockwave. The corner of a room is the safest spot to hide from a massive shockwave caused by a nuclear explosion. You ready? Scientists from Cyprus have discovered after running computer simulation of the catastrophic event. Scientists from Cyprus? How about clowns from Disneyland? Who the hell are you talking to?
Yeah, it's depressing. It's depressing, but it probably will get far less attention than Lisa Presley's demise.
Yeah.
Because Americans don't understand what's at stake.
You know, we need if you know, all these billionaires, not a penny for peace. Where are the peace movements? You know, I had the rally up here. I had, you know, Judge Napolitano, Scott Ritter, Gary Null, and Phil Giraldi. People don't know who Phil Giraldi is, but he's a former top CIA guy that goes into Bush's office and shows them the facts. There's no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And Bush tells him to get out of here, leave the office. And Giraldi, being a real man, quit. We sent out several thousand press releases over the course of 3 weeks. The streets were packed here. Zero coverage. Zero coverage. But if I had a rally to support Ukraine and put up Ukrainian flags everywhere, it would have been great news coverage.
Of course.
So what do you suggest? What do you suggest we do to stop this?
I think that the right in the country, as opposed to the left, I'm talking about, and the right has to be defined simply as Americans who care about and love their country. I've long been disappointed in the two-party system. I don't see much difference between Republicans and Democrats because they're all wholly owned subsidiaries of various lobbies. And as
wholly owned subsidiaries of various lobbies. Perfectly said. Go on, I'm sorry.
And as a result, we no longer have people in Washington representing the interests of the American people. And I felt strongly that we should have a new party completely. And I think we would attract large numbers of Democrats as well as Republicans into it if we made clear what we want to do with this party, what the platform would be. And that platform has to be one of avoiding unnecessary conflict.
Yeah.
It has to enshrine peace and prosperity as our top goals in the world. It has to give up this notion that nothing can happen in the world unless we somehow or another are shaping the outcome. In fact, we don't need to be involved with most of the world. And what happens in most of the world on any given day doesn't make much difference to us.
No, I agree.
And the other thing is talk about our sovereignty. You know, we're talking about Ukrainian sovereignty. What about ours? We've given it up. We've abandoned the borders. We don't enforce law. We've undermined, law enforcement. We're exalting criminality. We're treating it as though it's something good. This all has to go away. But the only way to get rid of it is to build a new platform. And that platform has to have media. In other words, you've got to develop the alternative to what is dominating us in the mainstream. Call it a free speech platform or a confederation of platforms, whatever you want. I don't see anybody on the right with any money stepping forward to do anything.
I know. That's what I was saying. So here's my suggestion. RFK Jr. for president and Judge Andrew Napolitano for vice president. And here's my thinking. I have this, I got it framed actually a couple of months ago. I came across it and I found it. And it's from the Daily News.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found this one. RFK goes home. He's buried. Imagine RFK Jr., his father's assassinated, His uncle's assassinated, the President of the United States. This guy must have a heart and emotion that none of us could ever imagine. And the Kennedy name would bring in the left. Napolitano would bring in the right, and people with an open mind that know that there's, and again, I don't know anybody that knows the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the details of it better than Judge Andrew Napolitano. Fact after fact after fact. So then we bring them on the libertarian ticket because they have ballots in all the states. And when the money starts coming in, we also form a new third party. That's my thinking. What do you think?
Well, it's worth trying. Unfortunately, my view is that not a whole hell of a lot is going to happen until everything implodes.
But again,
Americans aren't prepared to do very much.
Forgetting that part. Suppose we had the money behind us and the power behind us to get RFK Jr. and Judge Napolitano to run. What do you think their opportunity, the chances of, if we had the money behind us, for them to win?
Without the collapse financially and economically, no chance.
You don't think they could defeat them?
No. You have to have the financial collision first, the collision with reality, that you can't simply spend money that you don't have. You cannot continue to engage in these wealth transfers.
Well, that would be part of their platform. And again,
but Americans have to go through, I'm sorry to say, this crucible. I think they're going to have to suffer. Look, everybody knew that the revolution in France was coming for decades. Nothing happened for decades until the people of Paris in 1789 could not afford to buy bread. That's what triggered change. And unfortunately, until people are miserable, until they're uncomfortable, till they can't heat their homes, till they can't drive their cars, they can't pay for gasoline. And look, we're on that path. You know that, Gerald. We're on this path. Yeah. When that happens, then there will be an appetite for people to come in who are not part of the status quo and make profound change. But we're not there yet.
Well, I agree with you. The whole thing, you know, I go out, I work very hard, you know, with the magazine. It's a weekly, so I like to get out. The streets are dead at night now. They're dead, 9 o'clock at night, dead. I went to a top place last night with a friend, and there was hardly anybody there. I went to New Year's Eve. I went to a party, came back after 12 o'clock on the major road up here in Kingston, between Woodstock and here. Hardly a car on the road. The whole thing has changed. People are going down. But I also want to point out that the latest Gallup poll came out and showed that people rank congressmen lower than used car salesmen. So that hatred and disgust of the parties is there among the people already.
Well, that's an insult to used car salesmen. They're actually not bad people.
Well, I'm just saying, you know. But listen, thanks so much. And oh, by the way, you said about our borders, securing our borders. That, you know, on the what's his name? Dwight D. Eisenhower, 5-star general, Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces. Just a couple of days ago was January 17th.